When when I started playing the drums, I found it. I found I enjoyed it, and I found it was in some ways like juggling. You do a certain number of movements, and then something happens. It's not visual though; it's sound. You can hear the result, and I found it was very simple. I've always wanted to learn to play the piano, but I could never afford a piano, and I never had anywhere to put a piano. But the drums were very easy. Um, when you play a hand drum, there are only three different strokes that you need to learn, and then after that, it's all a simple combination of that, and that's basically drumming. Um, there's the jamming aspect, there's the listening aspect, there's learning all that sort of thing, and that is part of the general sort of thing that you find with playing any instrument. I found it rewarding to start off with, and I think that was why I carried on doing it. I found also that if you play for a long period of time, you tend to sort of sink into it, almost like a trance or something. Friends have told me, a friend of mine went to do a study on shamans in South America or Mexico or something, and she said that they used a drum to sink into this trance-like state before they went off to see what the future held in store and that sort of thing. And I've seen enough friends sort of play, and they do focus, they do get a sort of calm at the end of the day. It's not so much the loud bangy noise that you get immediately to start off with, but it's the focusing, and after an hour or so, you come away still. And after 4 hours of it, you come away with even more stillness, and weird things do start happening. We once played, there were a group of us, I think about 12 people in a community centre not far from here. And it's an old church. And we played there for about 2, 3 hours. And that was one week. And I could have sworn blind that I heard someone singing. And I thought, oh yes, it's just the acoustics of the room. So I moved everyone around, but that didn't help. I could still hear them singing, and no one else could hear them. And I asked my friends, and they said that I was banging on about something that, it was rubbish, and it was all the stresses of fatherhood, they said. And the next week it happened to a couple of the other people. They were sort of sat there, and one of them even started singing along with this chap, so I knew that other people had started hearing them. And then, well, the group stopped at some point because they just all got freaked out by this thing. You play your instrument, you don't expect to be joined by all these weird chanting voices that everyone can hear. Later on, I told it to the janitor who looks after the place, and he sort of gave me this wizened old look and said, well, the funny thing is that I lock this place up at night, and I can hear banging some nights, and lights go on that I've definitely switched off, and lights go off that I've switched on. So I wouldn't be so surprised about that sort of thing, he said. And I wondered whether he was pulling my leg, but I've got to know him over the years, and I think he was serious, and we never played in that place ever again.